Now to share the latest, a committee member who has deep Bay Area ties, Southern California Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff. Congressman Schiff, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Yeah, just a little additional introduction material. Danville's Monte Vista High School is where you graduated from. You're a Stanford grad as well, so you do have Bay Area ties, and you led the first Trump impeachment trial. But today, I want to talk to you in terms of your January 6th committee involvement. There were no more scheduled hearings until July. So what's the suddenly scheduled hearing tomorrow about?
Well, you're right. We originally had a couple of hearings we had planned to do this week that we put off until July. But we have decided to hold a hearing tomorrow with some late-breaking information, some new evidence, which I can't go into, so people will have to wait until tomorrow. But we've continued to adjust our hearing schedule depending on the facts and circumstances to make sure that we have time to adequately prepare for some, but also to take advantage of new information when we receive it, as we are doing with the hearing tomorrow.
Okay. I know you can't talk much more about what's coming up tomorrow, who you have, but what do you think should already be clear to the American public after your previous 5 hearings?
Well, I think what should be clear is that January 6th was not a day in isolation. It was the violent culmination of multiple lines of effort by former President Trump to overturn the election, lines of effort that involved pressuring state and local officials. And when that failed, pressuring the vice president. When that failed, pressuring the top of the Justice Department, even contemplating firing the acting attorney general and putting in place an inexperienced attorney who would falsely certify to states or falsely claim to states that there was fraud sufficient to overturn the election. When all else failed, you had January 6th and the attack on the Capitol to stop the vote count. And it's important that people see all of that evidence and see January 6th in that context.
All right. I want to shift our conversation to the Supreme Court. Today, the court ruled a school district had no right to prevent a high school football coach from praying on the field after games, saying that that's an endorsement of religion. Now, last week, as you know, the court ruled the state of Maine cannot exclude religious schools from getting public funding, taxpayers' dollars, in terms of helping students pay tuition at a private institution. Look, there's some who will say this is a further blurring of the line between church and state. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I think that's exactly the case. This, very right-wing Supreme Court has a religious and social agenda, and it is not unwilling to abandon decades-old precedent, as it did by overturning the decision Roe v. Wade, as it is again in this Kennedy case, overturning decades of settled law when it comes to the separation of church and state. We have tried to, since the founders, separate church and state to both protect the state and to protect religion, so that you don't have excessive government intrusion into religion. Here, the Supreme Court is basically blurring that line and saying that certain practices, which the court previously had struck down, would strike down again. They're disregarding that precedent. They're moving the court in a different direction. And this is, I think, what many people feared of this court, that it would not adhere to precedent, that it would basically advance a very conservative and religious agenda.
So, there are people who ask, what can Democrats do? Now, I know in the House, you passed the Women's Health Protection Act, but of course it failed in the Senate. And some abortion rights supporters are criticizing Democrats for saying, for not fighting like hell, some will say, that they want you or the administration at this point to use executive powers to do more. How do you respond to that? What is the more that is realistically possible?
Well, in my view, Democrats should get rid of the filibuster, and that way we could make Roe the law of the land. There is a pro-choice majority in the U.S. Senate, which if we only needed 50 or 50 plus 1 votes to get something passed, we could codify Roe. And then the Supreme Court couldn't do anything about it. But some people are relying on this old practice. It's not even a constitutionally required rule called the filibuster. And to me, what's more important than the health care of women all over the country? Certainly not this old Senate rule. So I agree. If fight like hell means getting rid of this old practice and protecting our constituents, absolutely. In terms of the other rulings of the court, those are less difficult to address, like this Kennedy decision on the separation of church and state, more difficult to address by statute. Here, I think the remedy is to expand the size of the court, which was stacked when Merrick Garland was deprived of a hearing during his nomination process by Barack Obama, and when Donald Trump was able to force Amy Coney Barrett on the country while people were literally voting to elect Joe Biden. So I think to unstack it, we should expand the size of the court.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, let me just check in with my producer. Do we have time for one more question? We do.
Sure.
Okay. Look, you are Jewish. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jewish law holds that abortion is required if necessary to protect the pregnant person's physical or mental health. Given today's Supreme Court ruling, do you think, as an extension of that, to be consistent, the court would affirm the right of anyone of the Jewish faith, even in states that ban it, to obtain an abortion?
Well, that's a good question. I would be the last to say that I'm a scholar when it comes to the Talmud. But I certainly believe, and I think it's consistent with my faith, that a woman's most difficult reproductive health decisions should be made by the woman in consultation with a person of a leader of her faith, if that's who she chooses to consult. It shouldn't be made by state legislators, mostly men, deciding for women what they ought to do in these circumstances. I think that's abhorrent, and what's more, I think it's dangerous because it will put the life and health of women and others at risk. So at least my understanding of my faith, I think women ought to make those decisions, not a lot of men in state legislatures making it for them.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you very much for speaking with us ahead of tomorrow's January 6th Select Committee hearing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.